Hello and welcome. This is your Saturday News. I'm your host, Keith Lander, coming to you from Dayton, Ohio. Welcome, and I appreciate all the comments and the likes from the last show. Share the show. I appreciate you if you share the show out. We give accurate news information and backed up with my opinion on some of it. So, but it's based on the accurate story in the news. So I appreciate you viewing. Share the show. This is a show for the community, of the community, and I could say by the community. So it's a community show, accurate information, accurate news information, and you'll get my take on some of the news stories. So let's start out with the scam alert. Now, I used to do this on the last shows. I did scam alert every show. So every once in a while, the scam alert will show up again. So this scam alert has to deal with the Dayton Police Dispatch phone number. It's being used as a fraud scheme. And the Dayton Police Department is warning the public that their non-emergency dispatch number has been used in a scam. The scammers are spoofing the number, and the number is 937-333-2677. They're spoofing this number, 937-333-2677. So that it appears it's coming from the police department, the Dayton Police Department, and people are asking for money on the other end. Don't send these people nothing, just hang up the phone. That number has been spoofed. So what these scammers do is they take that number, and that is a legit number, but it's not coming from the police department, all right? And the police department has put out a notice that says no personnel will ever call or ask for or demand money or payments from the police department. And so that's what they put on their Twitter page, the Dayton Police Department did. And so if you get this call, the Dayton Police Department recommends that you just hang up and then you call the real number, which is 937-333-2677. It's the same identical number, but you'll be calling in to the Dayton Police Department on that number. So spread the word. If you get this call, people asking for money on a 937-333-2677 number, and it appears like it's coming from the Dayton Police Department. It's not, because these people, the Dayton Police Department personnel, do not ask for money or demand money or payment over that line. So spread the word. Hopefully nobody get conned by these crooks. All righty. Now, here in the state of Ohio, the Senate and the Ohio legislators have basically passed a piece of legislation called the Concealed Carry Law, and it's Senate Bill 215. Now, Governor DeWine has just signed that bill into law, and what this does is this bill allows for individuals who are legally allowed to carry a firearm to carry a concealed firearm without a permit, without training, without a background check, and if you pulled over by the police, you don't have to tell the police that you have a weapon or you carrying a concealed weapon. That's what this bill, the details are. Now, the FOP, matter of fact, I think the Dayton Police Department FOP came out and were against this law. Also, the state FOP was against the law. Michael Winman, Director of Government Affairs for the Ohio Fraternal Police, he testified in the legislative committee that the police union opposed this bill because it increased risk to the police officers, making their job harder. Now, Governor DeWine, if you remember, I'll give you a little history about what he's done on as far as gun-related crimes. If you remember the deadly shooting in the Oregon district 2 years ago in 2019 when a gunman killed 9 people and injured 37 people. Well, at a memorial event, the crowd chanted to Governor DeWine to do something. And Governor DeWine, he tried. He introduced in October of 2019 Strong Ohio bill, which included a slate of gun reforms, improving gun background checks, expanding the 27-hour mental health hold, and increasing penalties for a crime committed with a firearm. And there was some more stuff involved in that too. But the General Assembly and the legislators basically dumped that bill. Governor DeWine didn't fight hard enough for it and that kind of thing, didn't try to get the support. He just put it on paper and let it be. And then Governor DeWine basically has signed and been consistently signing any kind of bill that loosened gun existing laws. And this is dangerous, folks. When the FOP, when you get me agreeing with the FOP, I'm agreeing with the FOP because I'm concerned about the officer's safety also and the community safety. And this don't lend itself to that safety. Also, ex-mayor of Dayton, Nan Whaley, who is now a Democratic candidate for the governor, has called on DeWine to reject Senate Bill 215. And she made a statement. She says, as a former mayor, I've seen firsthand when cities alone have to bear the brunt of keeping our community safe, Whaley said in a news release. The bill isn't about responsible gun owners. It's about making sure our communities and our law enforcement are safe. That's why I'm standing with law enforcement, anti-gun violent groups, and public health research, and calling on Governor DeWine to veto this dangerous bill. Well, Governor DeWine didn't pay no attention to that. He paid no attention to even one of the relatives whose father was shot his father was shot and killed down in the Oregon district, and he paid no attention to these people also, because they called for him to veto this bill. See, you either gonna stand with the police and try to protect the safety of the police and the community, or you're not. And what Governor DeWine and his legislative branch, legislators in Columbus, who is predominantly Republican, has shown that they're only going to talk about safety of the police officers and the community, but they're not going to do anything to protect them, because if they were, they never would have signed off on a dangerous piece of legislation like this. So you can talk all the talk you want, Governor DeWine, all the state legislators. You didn't stand with the police. You stood against the police. And I want people to take note of that, because Governor DeWine is up for re-election. All right? Some of these senators and representatives in Columbus are going to be up for re-election. And I'm not going to let the people forget what you've done to this community as far as gun safety. So, we'll move on. This is an article out of Dayton Daily News. Central State University celebrates presidents and will offer scholarships to local students. That's right. Dr. Jack Thomas, who is the current president of Central State University, and let me add one note to this here. In this article by Dayton Daily News, this Landon Bishop, the lady who wrote this article, Mr. Thomas is a doctor, and she didn't address Mr. Thomas in this article as Dr. Jack Thomas. You have to give Dr. Thomas his proper title, because this man has went to school to get a PhD, a master's degree, a doctor's degree. He's a doctor. And this London Bishop, the next time you write an article about Central State University president, you put doctor on his name. Do not disrespect this man like that. That's very disrespectful, for this woman to write this article and just refer to him as Jack Thomas. Very disrespectful. But I'm going to call it the way it's supposed to be done, because I'm going to give him respect. Dr. Jack Thomas, president of CSU, who started, he was elected in 2020, but the COVID came up and things got all out of whack. So what he announced at Central State University, they will offer scholarships to high school students. And the school districts are Dayton, Trotwood, Madison, Xenia, and Springfield. Now, under the new public school scholarship initiative, any incoming freshman who attends one of the 10 high schools in those 4 school districts are eligible for a $5,000 scholarship toward their first year of tuition at Central State University. The money does not apply for room and board. Now, there is an application deadline. The application deadline for those scholarships is May the 1st. and the scholarship requires students file a free application for federal student aid. And so also the President Thomas, Dr. Thomas, he's also has announced the university will create Ohio Classroom Teacher Initiative, a 4-year scholarship program for students in the College of Education. And so Dr. Thomas is doing some great things at Central State. As I reported last show, they were putting up investments in new housing, honors department building. They're doing some good things at Central State. And if you have a student in these high schools, which I just mentioned, which is Dayton, Trotwood, Madison, Xenia, or Springfield, if you have one of those students, I suggest they contact a counselor at that school and say, hey, I want to participate and get some of this $5,000 scholarship money toward the first year at Central State University. So, some good things coming out of Central State. Also, now, the primary are coming up, and questions are being sought for the Ohio primary candidates at the Wilberforce debates. Now, let me tell you this. The Ohio Debate Commission is accepting questions for all 4 Ohio primary debates scheduled to take place in Wilberforce this month. The U.S. Senate and the Ohio Governor debates will take place March the 28th and March the 29th at Central State University Paul Robeson Culture and Performing Arts Center. Now, to submit a question, you have to fill out a questionnaire and submission form at ohiodebate.org. That's ohiodebate.org, and that's all one word, no spaces. We'll probably put it on the screen so you can see. And if you want tickets, you have to call the Debate Commission website. There's a website. Now, the way these debates will be is the U.S. Senate Democratic Party debates will be from 11:30 to 2:30 on March the 28th. That's for the U.S. Senate. Also now, the state Senate people who's running for the state Senate, those debates will be on March 28th, and they'll start at 7 o'clock. Now, the gubernatorial debates, those debates, the primary debates, will be on March the 29th from 7 to 8. And ex-mayor of Dayton, Nan Whaley, is scheduled to participate, and John Carley is scheduled to participate. Governor DeWine has made a public statement and said he's not participating in the debates. So I guess he think he's going to win already. I guess he think he don't have to come down and participate in the debates because he guess he got a shoe in. I guess he don't think either ex-mayor Nan Whaley can beat him or the other individual running for governor can beat him. Whoever wins that between those two, I guess Mike DeWine say, hey, they can't beat me no way, so I only have to come in the debate. Or maybe, just maybe, it's because the location of where the debates are. They're at Central State. Just maybe, folks. And Mike DeWine, Governor DeWine, didn't give a good reason why he's not showing up. Didn't give a reason. Just say, hey, I ain't showing up. Are you showing up? Are you not showing up because you signed an unpopular piece of gun legislation? Are you not showing up because, and I hope this is not the case, the debates are held at a predominantly black university? I'm going to say it, folks. I don't care. I don't care what these people think. He should have the decency of showing up, Mike DeWine. You know what I mean? And he wants people to vote for him, and he don't show up. I can't tell you who to vote for, but I can tell you this. We'll make sure he think what he's thinking he got in the bag. We're going to put some holes in that bag. I can guarantee you that. So I'm going to move on, folks. So if you deal with Uber, Uber is charging customers a new fuel fee and delivery fee. That's right. Citing record high prices for gasoline, Uber is charging customers a new fuel fee to help offset the costs for the rides and delivery drivers. Now, the temporary surcharge will be either 45 cents or 55 cents for each Uber trip and 35 cents and 45 cents for each Uber Eats, depending on the location, as the company announced just a while ago. Now, this is going to be temporary. Now, it'll take effect. It's already in effect. But all the money will go directly to the drivers. The surcharge will be in effect for at least 60 days after which Uber will assess the situation further. So, the surcharge is based on the average trip distance and the increased gas prices in each state. That's what Uber put out. So, if you use Uber, you're going to have to pay a little bit more because the gas has just went up and Uber is charging customers more. So, don't be surprised. There may be some other companies coming right behind them and do the same thing, but I haven't seen that yet. If you remember last year in Columbus, there was it says a headline, officer who shot and killed 16-year-old Michaela Bryant cleared from criminal charges. Now, if you remember last year, and there was some video, and it went viral, and people seen the video. I hope we can post up the video, where there was a fight took place at a house, and the 16-year-old was involved in the fight, and the two other folks were involved in the fight. This Michaela Bryant had a knife. When the police officer rose up at the scene, he gets out the car. By the time the police officer gets out the car, this Ms. Bryant has this knife, and it appears on video like she's getting ready to stab another female. And the officer shoots, and the shots resulted in her death. Well, this officer has been cleared of the charges. His name was Nicholas Reardon. He's been cleared of the charges of that shooting because he said he was acting in the defense because this Ms. Bryant could have injured or killed the girl that she was attempting to stab. And he said he was too far back to use mace or taser, and by the time he got that, the young lady with the knife could have did a whole bunch of damage. So a grand jury has cleared this officer of criminal charges. A grand jury, by the way, have cleared this officer. Hopefully we had the video so you can see that. I just wanted to bring that up because that made news, national news, last year, and so that case has been gone to the grand jury, and the officer has been found cleared of those charges. After 200 tries, Congress has approved a new anti-lynching legislation. Now, this is called the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act is what it's called, and it was pushed by Representative Bobby Rush. And over the last several decades, Congress has tried to approve this anti-lynching piece of legislation, and it kept failing and kept failing. 200 tries, they finally got it through, thank God. And so what this does is, this Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, it gives Congress, it was approved a couple Mondays ago, and it would make lynching a federal hate crime in the U.S. Now, the bill is being sent to President Joe Biden to sign into law. The bill would make it possible to prosecute a crime as a lynching when a conspiracy to commit a hate crime results in death or serious bodily injury, according to the bill. The maximum sentence under the Anti-Lynching Act is 30 years. That's a good thing, folks. We finally got that passed. And believe it or not, the Senate passed the bill with unanimous consent. The House passed the same bill, 422 to 3. And let me point out the three individuals who voted no on an anti-lynching bill like this. Congressman from Georgia, Andrew Clyde. Congressman from Kentucky, Thomas Massie. And Texas Congressman Chip Roy. They all voted no. So I don't know if these individuals are in the Klan, or are they in some kind of white supremacist group, or are they just stupid? And I think they're just stupid, to be honest about it, because why wouldn't you vote for an anti-federal lynching piece of legislation? Maybe they all the above. I don't know. Somebody, y'all help me out. Maybe they all the above. Maybe they Klan, maybe they white supremacists, and maybe they just stupid altogether. These are the people. People send these folks to Washington, folks. This guy, Andrew Clyde from Georgia, I done talked about him on the show before. This Thomas Massie from Kentucky, and this Chip Roy from Texas. What was they thinking? Or they wasn't thinking? These are the kind of people that's in Washington. These are the kind of people that, we rely on to make some decent laws, and they can't vote for it. anti-lynching. Come on, folks. Georgia, Kentucky, Texas. They make y'all look like y'all some fools for voting on these people and sending them to these places to be represented. Represent what? Please. All right. Let me move on. Let's talk about these gas prices. Everybody talking about gas prices. Gas prices, this, and everybody want to blame the president. You want to blame the president. You blame the president for every little thing. You blame the president because you ain't got a job. You blame the president because you got a job, don't pay enough. You blame the president because, just blame the president. He seems to be a scapegoat for everything. Well, let me give you some facts. And this is from PolitiFact. So if you want to argue, you argue with PolitiFact. Just send it to them and see what kind of response you get. Here's the fact on the oil production. There are many factors that play in the steady climb of prices since President Biden took office, including the increase of demand after the pandemic lockdown ended, inflation, and now the war in Ukraine. But the lower oil prices in the United States isn't one of them. Now listen to this, folks. America can produce 11.185 million barrels of crude oil per day in 2021, compared with 11,283,000,000 barrels a year under Donald Trump. The amount processed in Joe Biden's first year exceeded the average daily amount of oil production under Donald Trump from 2016 to 2018. That's according to the data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Now, people want to say, well, Biden, he did away with the pipeline. Let me tell you about the pipeline, all right? Biden did issue an executive order for the first month in office that paused new oil and gas lease on sales on government land pending a review. That was struck down by a federal judge in June. Now, despite claims to the contrary, this oil production was unfazed in the U.S. following that order. So it didn't make a dime of difference, all right? Now, this Keystone Pipeline that everybody's talking about, the Keystone Pipeline did not impact production levels under Biden watch. Matter of fact, the Keystone Pipeline goes from Canada through the United States into the ocean. It's not even the kind of oil that you can refine. And if it was all the way finished and all this Keystone stuff, it wouldn't have made a difference right now because it'll take another 5 years to finish the thing. You got it? So that Keystone Pipeline wasn't the reason. And matter of fact, if you look and do a little research, you will find out that the oil companies in the United States, they are seeing record profit from these oil companies. But the price of gas keeps going up. The price of a barrel of oil has went down, but the price of gas keeps going up. So you know what that tells me? There's price gouging going on, folks. Price gouging. And people want to say inflation. Oh, inflation, prices are terrible. Yeah, they are terrible. They are high. But you know what? If you look at most of these companies, these big companies who produce these groceries, they show a profit too. They're making profit, folks. Look it up. Don't listen to these talking heads on TV. These talking heads, they're giving you, that soap opera stuff they're talking about. Look at the facts. I'm giving you the facts. Now you can check it out. These companies are seeing record profit. Oil companies, record profit. So why is gas so high? Because they price gouging, right? So all these people who talk about inflation so high, inflation this, and they want to blame President Biden, do an investigation. Do an investigation into the profit margin of some of these oil companies, and you will see what these oil companies are profiting. And you will see the fact that the U.S. oil production hasn't declined. So, and you will see the reason why these companies are jacking the price up, because they can and because they know they have some of these legislators in Washington in their hip pocket because they give money to them, and the lobbyists go there and they lobby and they put money in the coffers of these folks. And when something comes up like this, that money buys their silence. See, we got people in Washington who are not doing the will of the constituents. They're doing the will of big corporations. And whatever big corporations want, that's what big corporations get, because they're putting money in the coffers. You got it? It's just that simple, folks. It is just that simple. Don't be go out here belly aching about what the president doing. Oh, the president causing all these gas prices. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. The president is not causing these gas prices to go up. Oil companies are causing these gas prices to go up. The war in Ukraine with Russia is having an effect on these gas prices, right? So, with that in mind, you know what I mean? We have to be a little smarter than what we do when I just don't read the news. Watch the news. I read the news. And just read your local newspaper on a daily basis. And you'll see some of the same stories I come across. And that's by the Associated Press, which is one of the most reliable news outlets in the United States. You know, they don't have a bias, unlike some of this other crap you see, you know. And let me close with this. That war in Ukraine and what Putin is doing, you know, sending his troops over there just to kill those people and try to take their land. You know, some folks, you know, history tends to repeat itself. You know, but those people are fighting back in Ukraine. I remember back in history when they used to teach, you know, this stuff called Thanksgiving, and all these European pilgrims come over here, and supposed to be the Native Americans met them, and they had a big feast and all this other kind of nonsense that they teach. Let me tell you something, folks. Those Europeans came over here, and they did the same thing that Vladimir Putin is doing to Ukraine. Just steamroll them and try to take the land. Well, Native Americans, they tried to fight back, but they didn't have the firepower, didn't have enough guns, and so their land was taken, they was put on reservations and this kind of thing. Well, fast forward to today. If we have people in this country who is supporting Vladimir Putin, this man is a ruthless dictator. This man has killed innocent women, children, and men. This man has killed journalists. This man has killed political oppositions to him. This man has killed journalists, jailed journalists. This man is ruthless, folks. And when we hear or see talking heads on TV standing up and promoting Vladimir Putin, a man could care less about the United States. A man could care less about what they're saying about him because he don't care. He's drunk on power, right? And people question, how did Hitler get control to kill 6 million Jews? Because there were people, like we see on these talking heads, who was applauding Hitler. We got people in this country on American TV who's applauding and patting Vladimir Putin on the back for trying to kill everybody in Ukraine. That's how it starts, folks. It's dangerous. And the FCC, if they don't have the common sense or the common decency to say, on the airwaves of the United States, we're not going to promote a ruthless killer dictator like a Vladimir Putin, then we got problems with the FCC. We got a whole bunch of problems with the FCC. If they allow these people to go on TV and support this fool. So, I just want to close with that, because if I keep talking, I may say something that I shouldn't have said. So, until next time, make sure you share the show, folks. Share the show. If you send me a thumbs up, it'll be greatly appreciated. You know, I'll try to acknowledge you. Like I say, I'm not too skilled on this cell phone, so, you know, when you send me all that stuff, I'll try to figure out which one of them buttons to hit to send it back. I got to get a tutorial on my phone, and somebody said, why don't you get an updated phone? I said, I can't use the one I'm working now, so I don't need no more bells and whistles on this phone. So I'll leave you with that. May God bless you and your family.